Hey guys, so today I'm here with my favorite books of 2015. Now I'm going to do some honorable mentions first, and then I'm going to do my favorites in no particular order, except for the last five will have an order. So let's go ahead and get started. My first honorable mention is The Iron Trial by Holly Black and Cassandra Clare. This is an honorable mention because I didn't expect to love it as much as I did. It's about a boy who goes to a magic school, and it's a little bit like Harry Potter. It kind of reminded me of Harry Potter in a way, even though it's very different. I just really didn't expect it to like as much as I did, so that's why it's an honorable mention. The next honorable mention is The Fever series by Karen Marie Moning. Now, I read the first 3 books this year. I really enjoy them. It's an adult urban fantasy series, and I've never read anything like that before. The next book is A Million Miles Away by Laura Avery. This is a book about a girl whose twin sister dies, and she doesn't have the heart to tell her twin sister's boyfriend that she died, so she pretends to be her twin, and it's really sad, but it kept me hooked the entire time, and so that's why it's an honorable mention, but it wasn't quite my favorite. Next book is Hello, I Love You by Katie M. Stout. This is about a girl who goes to a Korean boarding school, and it's described as kind of like Anne and the French Kiss, and I love Anne and the French Kiss, so obviously I wanted to read it, but I had heard really, terrible reviews of it, so I was really hesitant going in, and I really, really enjoyed it. And I can see where the terrible reviews come from, but I enjoyed it, and that's why it's an honorable mention. The last honorable mention is Written in the Stars by Aisha Saeed. This is about a Pakistani girl who is forced into an arranged marriage, which I had never read anything like that before, and I quite enjoyed it. It's an interesting read. And now on to my favorites of the year. These are all books that I gave 5 stars. I only gave 12 books 5 stars this year, so here we go. So in no particular order, the first 7. So the first one I want to mention is Vanishing Girls by Lauren Oliver. Now this book, I'm a huge fan of Lauren Oliver, and this book hooked me, I could not stop reading, and I read the last 200 pages of it in one sitting, which I never do. And yeah, another Lauren Oliver book that has not let me down, and I will pretty much read anything that she writes. The next book is Where She Went by Gail Forman. Now, I read If I Stay in 2014, and I liked it, but I didn't love it, and so I had kind of been putting this one off, and then finally I just decided to pick it up, and I really, really loved it. I loved it a lot more than the first one. The next one is a series, and that is the Secrets of the Eternal Rose trilogy by Fiona Paul, especially this first book, Venom, because it was my favorite. This is a historical fiction trilogy set in Venice, and it's like a murder mystery, and it's really, really good. I wish more people would read it because I've hardly heard anyone who's read it, but yeah, I really, really liked this whole trilogy, and I would definitely recommend it. The next thing I want to mention is also a trilogy, and it is The Jewel and the White Rose by Amy Ewing, particularly The Jewel because it was my favorite. It's a dystopian trilogy, and I haven't been able to find a really good dystopian in a long time, and so I kind of just thought I was over the genre, but I really, really liked these 2 books. The next one is also a trilogy, and that is 1,000 Pieces of You and 10,000 Skies Above You by Claudia Gray, more specifically this first one because it was my favorite. This one was not quite as good, but I'm going to include it because it was still really good. These covers, of course, are beautiful. I love the covers on these. If this was a cover ranking, these would be number 1. But anyway, this is a book about parallel universes. This girl has to travel through parallel universes in order to find her dad's killer. And it was kind of a surprise, too, because I wasn't really expecting to love it as much as I did. But next one I want to talk about is Revenge, Ice Cream, and Other Things Best Served Cold by Katie Finn. What would my favorite books be without a Katie Finn or Morgan Matson book? If you don't know, Katie Finn is the pen name of Morgan Matson. This is just a really fun series. It's about, this girl who's trying to get revenge on her friend, and I don't know, it's just really, really addicting, and yeah, I love everything that Katie Finn or Morgan Matson writes, pretty much. And the last book before I go through my top 5 is First and Then by Emma Mills, which I read very recently. I just finished it a few days ago. And yeah, this book is described as Pride and Prejudice meets Friday Night Lights, which is really cool. It reminded me a lot of high school because high school football was a big part of high school for me. I was in the band. So I definitely saw the elements of Pride and Prejudice, and I really liked the romance in this book, and it was just really good. Now on to my top 5 books. Coming in at number 5 is My Heart and Other Black Holes by Jasmine Warga. Now this was also a very recent read. It's about 2 people who make a suicide pact. They want to commit suicide, and then they kind of start to realize that maybe that's not what they really want to do, and it was really, really good. It was really heartbreaking, but definitely a really good book. Coming in at number 4 is Just One Day by Gail Forman. Now this is about a girl who travels to Paris for just one day with this Dutch guy, and they go around Paris, and then something happens, but I'm not going to say that because it's a spoiler. But yeah, I really, really like this book. It reminded me a lot of traveling around Europe when I was studying abroad earlier this year, and it just, oh, I just loved it. It just gave me so many feels, and I just want to go and just travel the world again. Coming in at number 3 is The Last Time We Say Goodbye by Cynthia Hand. This is another book about suicide. It's about a girl whose brother commits suicide, and she's just dealing with the aftermath of all that. And it was really sad too, of course, but it was really, really good. And coming in at number 2 is The Heir by Kiera Cass. This is the 4th book in the Selection series, and I love this series. I don't even care what you think. I know a lot of people don't like this, but I love this series, and this was no different. I cannot wait for The Crown and find out how this ends, because this ended on such a cliffhanger, and I'm dying for the next book. And coming in at number 1 is Saint Anything by Sarah Dessen. I'm a huge Sarah Dessen fan, and this was probably one of my favorites of hers, if not my favorite. It was definitely in like the top 3 or 5 of her books, and I just love this book. It's about a girl whose brother is put in jail for a hit-and-run accident, and she's just kind of having to deal with living under her brother's shadow. Like, everyone thinks she's going to turn out exactly like him. Typical Sarah Dessen book. I just love her books, and I can't wait for her to come out with another one. So those are my favorite books of 2015. What were your favorite books in 2015? Did any of the ones I picked make your list? Let me know in the comments down below, and I will see you again next time. Goodbye!